After decades at the top of the martial arts world, Maeghen Cotterill walked away from everything she built. In this episode, she opens up about burnout, intuition, and rebuilding life from scratch, merging the discipline of a world champion with the clarity of a psychic channeler. Welcome to the show. This episode is brought to you by my book, Brand Jitsu. Move your brand from meh to memorable. Brand Jitsu is the battle-tested method I've been using for nearly 20 years to help artists, entrepreneurs, and businesses find shape and share their stories so everyone gets it. And where do you get a copy of this amazing book? Glad you asked. Head over to brandjitsu.com to order a signed copy, or get it at Indigo, Chapters, Kohl's, Barnes & Noble, or head down to your local independent bookstore and ask them to bring it in. Welcome to the RebelRebel. I'm your host, Michael Dargie, and across the table from me, yes, Maeghen Cotterill. How the hell are you?
I'm really good. I'm really, really good. I'm happy to be here. In person is nice.
Yeah, thanks for making time.
Yeah.
So let's catch me up and catch everybody else up. What are you up to right now? What's your life like in this moment? And then we'll go back in time.
Yeah. Well, I guess after blowing up my life about a year ago, I'm in a really awesome place right now.
Nice.
I have a chance to kind of follow my intuition and my gut on the way I want the rest of my life to look.
Wicked.
So yeah, like I've been a professional martial artist for going on 37 years. My life was owning a studio, being president of Team Canada, fostering martial arts in the community, growing it internationally, setting policies, doing all kinds of amazing things, and basically like achieving. So getting more black belts and higher ranks and more credentials and things like that. And then I burnt out. Really, really bad.
That happens.
Yeah. And then I've now brought both sides of my personality, and my soul actually kind of together. So I've been a psychic channeler and an intuitive for a very long time.
Wow.
And it was something I kept really private and really quiet. And now I'm kind of merging both sides of my life together, both the martial arts side and the spirituality side. And they're learning how to coexist and learning how to go in and out. I think they always did. I just didn't have the same awareness.
Interesting.
And so my life is now being filled with things that make me happier, make me calmer, good for my nervous system.
Yeah.
My masks have come off quite substantially. My identity is becoming less and less important as the days go on. The way I present myself to the world is definitely changing. And I think I'm learning how to be happier.
Wow. Well, first of all, congratulations.
Oh yeah, thanks.
That's kick-ass. And so are you, literally.
Thanks.
I'd like to go way back in time to the start of the story, wherever that is. But I'd like to just take a quick little detour to blowing your life up 1 year ago.
Yeah.
What happened there?
So I knew what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be since I was 8 years old. So yeah, oddly enough, I didn't have any mentors or role models showing me what that would look like. But I knew it was something I wanted to create. I wasn't sure how. So I saw these like funky puzzle pieces. So for example, I'm like, I know I need to teach. I know there needs to be martial arts involved. There needs to be some physicality. I want to be a helper. I want to defend. I want to be a role model that I didn't have. So for example, I, wanted to be a female martial arts instructor and have a studio and influence people in that kind of a positive direction. But there was no female coaches. There was really not very many standalone actual studios. Like back in the 80s.
Sure.
I mean, when the Karate Kid came out, there was nothing like Cobra Kai out there.
Yeah.
I mean, just for presence, not necessarily cultural attitude, even though that is definitely present in the community. And so I was like, I want to be a female black belt and martial artist and coach. But then I also wanted elements of being like a police officer in a way, or thinking about military, or thinking about being like a phys ed teacher, or being a counselor. So there was all these factors of things that I wanted to do, and I didn't know how to put them together, but I saw the pieces. And at 8 years old, I had a knowing, and that's a whole separate story, where if I just sort of followed the puzzle pieces and the breadcrumbs, that I'd eventually have the life that I could envision. And I knew that continuing in martial arts and continuing with those visions would get me to the place I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So I grew. And so I had my very first like martial arts satellite location, like my own, at 16 years old when I got my black belt.
No way.
Yeah. And
What'd you call it?
This was just like, it was a rec ACKU like associated studio.
Yeah.
So it was just come and do Shotokan karate. This is when we're going to have it. It's provided by this instructor. This is what we're going to do.
Amazing.
Then when I left that at 19, I left that association because I didn't like how they were like fostering the belt system, the students, how they were doing things. They were rushing people through.
Yeah.
They weren't very technical. They started thinking very much money and positions of power and authority. It wasn't very positive, and I disagreed with a lot of the methods they were doing. So I left and started a very, very small space, like, I don't know, 1,200 square feet, called it Rising Phoenix.
Right on.
Had that studio for a while. This was all karate based because I started with Goju-Ryu, then did Kung Fu, then did Shotokan karate.
There's a weird Goju and Kung Fu, very flowing
They
styles.
can be, yeah.
Shotokan, not so much.
Not so much. And I do not have the body type for Shotokan, which is hilarious. I've had to like figure out how to transform my body into like a more square, structured, forceful, aggressive, assertive, block style movement.
What a wild journey.
Yeah, Goju-Ryu was hard and soft. The Kung Fu I did was Northern.
Okay.
So it was hard and soft as well. It was very traditional. It wasn't like Wushu where it was demo style.
Yeah.
But as long as I was in martial arts, I was pretty happy. The issue was always finding an appropriate instructor, a safe place to train, not having to worry about their backgrounds. Yeah, that is a lot of my story and my journey and my why behind what I do. Is going through the struggles of abuse, sexual assault, things like that. So eventually I found a really great Shotokan instructor. It's close to my house, community center I was able to get to. They fostered my development. And so I stuck with Shotokan for a long time. Yeah, I have a 6th-degree black belt in it now, so it's pretty sweet.
What?
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome. My dad did Shotokan when I was growing up.
Really? That's so cool.
Yeah.
I know. All the kumite and all the katas, and it's like, it's very traditional.
Yeah.
I love the elements and the aspects of it. And I learned a lot about myself, a lot about my regulation. I mean, I'm severely tested ADD, ADHD. You know, being a child of the 80s, you were just the one that got in trouble all the time. And like, you're really wildly annoying and you talked and you were distracting. It's because our brains move so fast and we're hypervigilant and we're looking for things. So martial arts helped me to ground and center and communicate and articulate and channel my energy. It was brilliant. Like, it's brilliant. But the abuse was less in the martial arts studio than what I was going through in my home life.
Oh, dear.
So it was a very comfortable place because sometimes the culture in the martial arts studios weren't as positive. They could be very much like Cobra Kai as opposed to a nicer Mr. Miyagi style, I guess.
It's a great analogy.
It's the one everybody seems to know. So it's an easier one to reference. And then I amalgamated my small studio into a Taekwondo studio, ran my studio, got a black belt in Taekwondo, ran that studio. And then at 23, I decided, you know what, it's time to really do this. My vision was that I was having a hard time aligning with a lot of people in the community and what their vision, values, and integrity were.
Yeah.
Sometimes like there's just a culture difference in the way where it's like, I want to do things A, you want to do things B.
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't like that. It was, I didn't want to work with people or for people that lacked a ton of integrity and were, you know, abusing their positions of power. They were hurting people. They weren't welcoming. They weren't inclusive. And so I kind of had a big cry and no money and working 3 jobs and going to school and taking care of my siblings. And I was like, but where will they go?
Yeah, right.
So I saw it as like a lighthouse in a way of a safe place where they could get movement regulation, healing, friendships, social skills, a community. They could learn something that made them feel good. It could possibly change their lives for their career, their leadership, whatever it was that they needed to fulfill those voids in their life in a positive way. And I wanted to be able to create and foster that. But at 23 and marketing school and not barely affording to live, I opened it, taking, you know, Capital One credit card stuff and very high interest loans. And I took a very high personal loan from one of my students' parents. And then, Capital One credit card, max that sucker right out.
Yeah.
And then grew it for 20 years to one of the largest studios like in Canada and the world.
Wow.
And I mean, you can measure that in all sorts of ways. You can measure that by square footage or type of students that I had. But just the last 8 years of my database had over 8,000 students.
Holy.
Just the last 8 years of that tracking.
Wow.
So
how did you get involved with Team Canada?
So I started competing. There isn't a lot of martial arts presence in Western Canada. So we had to travel, to Ontario a lot or bring people in or do seminars or sometimes go to Vancouver. And I wanted my resume to speak for itself.
Yeah.
Because being a very young, blonde, non-traditional looking martial artist, especially being a female studio owner.
Yeah.
The community wasn't accepting. So I had a lot of people trying to do whatever they could, discredit my ranks, my accreditation, my skill sets, everything.
Oh my God.
Now, years later, I'm like, okay, this tracks, like I get it. But it was also so different that I mean, when you're so different, people are really weirded out by that.
Yeah.
And they can't explain it. And so they think that you can kind of be full of shit.
Yeah.
And so I decided to train my ass off, take as many different martial arts as I was interested in that I felt could make me more well-rounded, more confident, and I could be a better teacher.
Yeah.
And then I basically set out to say, I want to win 10 world titles in multiple disciplines. I want to fight across multiple organizations. Because when you get discredited and you're constantly feeling like you're clawing up the mountain to get to the top, I wanted just my resume, my experience, everything to go, she deserves where she's at. She deserves to be teaching these children. She deserves to be running a successful business. I think I was just trying to prove to myself that it was something I deserved because I was working on trying to have some self-worth and some self-esteem. And this was my measure was accomplish. So started competing all over the world. Noticed all of the things I wanted to change. I'm very much the person where instead of complaining, it's like complaining about a politician. I mean, everyone can have pros and cons on politicians and decide what they want. Yeah. But sometimes the best way to advocate for something that you want is not to discredit someone else or put them down, but to go do it yourself.
Sure.
Go run.
Yep.
Go run for office and go try to change the things that you think need changing or help the communities that you think need help developing or broadening or turning more positive. Yeah. And so basically what I did is I had a little mental list in the back of my mind going, I want to provide these many more opportunities. I want to have safe and fair weight classes for women. I want there to be more safety and security. I want to be able to protect my students. I want there to be just in general, more opportunities and more positivity and more exposure.
Right.
So there never been anything in Western Canada. There was never a Western Canadian rep. National championships had never even been to Western Canada. So there was very little opportunity if you're a martial artist. And if you're doing sport in Canada, you're paying for it by yourself.
Yep.
And I didn't have the family support to do so. So, I basically bartended for years and ran my studio and worked other jobs.
And probably the bouncer.
Actually, I could do all the things. I could manage, right. I could do promotions, I could bounce, I could bartend, I could serve. Yeah. I could do all the things.
Awesome.
Same in the martial arts community. I can be a promoter. I have been. I've ran events. I've judged. I've sent a referee. I've been a competitor. The only thing I haven't done, oddly, is be a ring girl. I've been an announcer.
Amazing.
One of the first female announcers in a fight card in Canada. Yeah.
Wow.
So, which is kind of interesting because of
what was it mixed martial arts or was it
for announcing?
Yeah.
Boxing.
Oh, so boxing. Cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. Actually, it was something where I'm like, I could totally do this again.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
I have a personality that doesn't mind being front and center for things and speaking out and doing that. So I was very comfortable in that role. So I went on to get 11 world titles. I competed in multiple divisions. I competed in 8 different divisions and styles. So I have 4 black belts and red sash and kung fu. And I've cross-trained, done boxing and jiu-jitsu and all the things.
Wow.
So did that, continue to upgrade my ranks. So I have 2 6th degrees, I have 2nd degree, 1st degree in multiple styles. And I brought national championships to Calgary. I built up Team Canada. I had a balance between East and West.
What and which art?
This one was sport karate, kickboxing, full contact, and traditional. So it's an association that included all the mat sport and ring sport together.
Sweet.
The only thing we didn't do was jiu-jitsu and MMA, but the association I'm with now actually is umbrella for all of it.
Oh, wow.
So it's like 10 to 12 rings for days and days and days and over 400 divisions. And it's a thing. So I built out, I was Western Canadian director for a while to provide more opportunities and get, finances can be quite restrictive and opportunities can be quite restrictive. And I wanted to, if martial artists can't get to where they want to go, bring it to them.
Right.
It's the best way to help. It's the best way to have these initiatives make change.
Yeah,
they do. So Western Canadian rep, did the Western Canadian Championships, got the community together, brought East and West Canada together, started advocating, started traveling and competing more, refereeing, judging, growing the team, coaching all over the world. Then advocated to have national championships in Calgary, ended up doing it. In 2023, we had the biggest Canadian championships. We had over 610 division starts, which is insane.
Holy.
We held it at Seven Chiefs for 3 days. It was massive. And then I brought the World Championships to Calgary in 2023.
Holy crap.
Yeah, 3,000 people, 26 countries. It was insanity. It was beautiful. And then a couple weeks later, I resigned and sold my studio.
Yeah, that tracks. It's like checking off bucket list items and getting this stuff done and hitting the pinnacle maybe is a good time to be like, I need to now, pivot.
Yeah. It was one of those moments where after I had done everything that I set my mind out to do, I wanted to break records. I wanted it to be the biggest, most successful, and most well-attended opening ceremonies in Calgary other than the Olympics.
Yeah.
Which it was.
Awesome.
I was so incredible. And bringing actual traditional Canadian culture to the world and then having it be multicultural.
Love it.
I had beautiful female Indigenous dancers and drummers and singers. I had a white hat ceremony. I had,
Nice.
Chief Lee Crowchild do the land acknowledgement and the blessing. I had Filipino martial arts. I had Chinese martial arts. I had Japanese martial arts. I spoke. I had a professor from Mount Royal University that's been working with me to change codes of conduct, come and do what's it called? A data survey to collect information to prove the need that we have in our community against, sexual assault, abuse, discrimination, inclusion, things of that nature. So she announced her project in front of everyone publicly that she's been working on for, I think, over 8 or 9 years now. We've been working on it together for a long time. Marilee Mulholland, she's amazing.
Oh,
so
shout out.
Yeah, shout out to her. She's really great. I haven't talked to her in a little while, but she's such a fabulous human.
Are you an introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert.
Or ambivert?
I think just this year, I've really thought about that because I always thought I was a natural extrovert.
Yeah.
But I used to get really, really, really nervous and really anxious, and I didn't know why. Now I know why. It's because of my empathic abilities. So I was picking up everybody's energy at all times and didn't know how to block or translate or figure that out. It was super tricky. And then the second thing is that I always had sort of masks on to try to present myself to the world so that I would be seen as something comfortable and accepted. Therefore, I would feel safer. So it's a really strange thing when you do it subconsciously and you don't know that you have all these masks on. And I was always very fit and very regimented and dressed a certain way and had extensions and nails and Botox and all the things. And I had to present myself as someone that was a strong martial artist, but a strong leader, but a strong coach, but a strong boss, but a strong person in the business community. But then I could lead events. I could do this. I could handle this. I could go and have all these business meetings and apply for loans. It was so much that I think I was an extrovert, but I'm wondering now if I am a bit of an introvert because I need to regulate my energy in a totally different way, but had no awareness of that until,
Interesting.
I sold the business and kind of got out of the chaos.
How important do you think it is to get punched in the face?
Very.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
I know that's a bit of a weird question, but
no, it's an awesome question.
Cool.
It's an awesome question. I mean, I used to, before any of my students decided that they wanted to compete or they wanted to spar, they wanted to go into a competition, I put them up against the wall.
Yeah.
We set a timer.
Yeah.
I showed them how to block and guard safely and appropriately. And I'd punch them in the face continuously for 30 seconds. It never hurt. Like it was like that hard.
Yeah.
But I wanted them to watch every punch that came towards them. And I wanted them to acknowledge that they were overwhelmed, not injured.
Right.
And so eventually it helped them work through their anxiety. It gave them some realistic perspective. And I'm like, did you enjoy that? All of them were like, 0%.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like even for me, going back into competing in martial arts and sparring after I had a baby, I had coaches like put me in like one square mat and literally beat the snot out of me until I cried and was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because it helped. This was a me thing because I was going into full contact. Like I had to get used to this. And I knew I wanted to go into full contact pretty soon after having my child. So I had to get used to like literally 3 people at once beating me up, and I wasn't able to move, and I had to guard and I had to deflect and I had to like figure it out safely. Like you get some bruises, but really it's trusting in yourself that you can handle it, you can take it, you can guard and protect, you're safe, you're grounded, so that your reactions within the fight and the way that you can navigate the fight and win, you feel so much more present and in control, knowing that you don't have that same fight or flight response that you would if you're not used to getting hit.
Yeah.
So it's so psychological. It's not even physical. It's just
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I wonder, like from a growing a business, standing up and doing all these things, like if you've never done them before, they can be, you get in your head about it.
Yeah, I never did any of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have mentors. I didn't have parents. I didn't have strong role models. I eventually got those later on in life.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a huge shout out. One of my mentors just in the last few years, it's been crazy, was Ed Straw. And he was a mentor that was like, you will not fail. Like, I want to cry about it, but it's like, you get so scared to fail.
Yeah.
Because you're doing so many new things. You don't know if it's going to work. You want to be accountable to so many people. You don't want to let anyone down.
Yeah.
You're a boss. You're a leader. You're a coach. You're striving to like make changes and do things that have never been done before. So people don't always think it's going to work. Like advocating to bring the world championships to Calgary was like the fight that I was in for was harder than any physical fight I've ever been in. And he was like, nope. He's like, who you are is true and real. He's like, be yourself. He's like, you can absolutely handle this. And he's like, you will not fail. And if I'm in your life, like I'm going to remind you and I'm going to help you that you're not going to fail. So yeah, I have some really good friends too that give me the encouragement and let me cry and have freakouts and panic attacks and things like that. But
love it.
He was one of those like advocates where he didn't need to be an advocate or mentor in my life.
Oh,
you know?
That's nice.
And he just chose to sort of step in and be that guy.
Love it.
So I've had a few. Faisal Carmeli is another. Over the last like few years is in the business community. He was like, nope, keep being different. Keep trying. Like you are the real deal. You're not an imposter. He's like, there's hard days. There's bad days. He's like, just keep going. He's like, you're meant for this.
Love it.
So I know.
Wicked.
It's pretty awesome.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
What do you do just for you? Like what's a Maeghen guilty pleasure?
It's changed over the last little while.
I can imagine.
I mean, a lazy morning. You cannot beat a lazy morning. Like a good cup of coffee on my really comfy couch with a big weighted blanket and a fireplace. And honestly, I'm a sucker for like binaural beats and frequency music.
Okay.
So if there's like a 528 hertz or 432, like they really can regulate your nervous system, your soul. It helps get my intuitive abilities more regulated, my energy more centered.
Yeah.
Spending time with my kid, doing cool things. Like
right on.
I absolutely love, he's my complete opposite. He is the love of my life. And I love showing him that the world is full of adventure and different things.
Love it.
So being creative and going on adventures that neither one of us has done is kind of my favorite thing. And then just making time for people that actually are the glimmers in my life. You know, like the people that you get really excited to see. And then every time you're with them, like you can either ugly cry with snot bubbles or you can laugh so hard that you're spitting and crying, or you can talk about all your worst fears. Like making more time for those people in my life, no matter what capacity I'm at, whether I'm in my pajamas, whether like I had a broken leg in May, I couldn't move from my couch.
Yeah.
And sometimes those couch conversations were my favorite thing in the world.
Love it.
And I had to realize, you know, do I actually love martial arts or do I not? I've been doing it since I was 8. Do I actually love it?
Yeah.
So this year I took a step back and was like, I need to figure out if I love movement, in what capacity, how I want to be able to do it. So turns out I love martial arts. So weird, right?
What? Crazy.
I know.
Who would have thought?
Right? But it's not to compete or be a certain body size or to get all these accomplishments or to do all these things. So I started doing things that actually just made me feel really happy.
Love that.
Like it's a long time. Like playing is my favorite thing in the world, but I forget to do it all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ice cream flavor.
My favorite is black cherry. My second favorite is mint chocolate chip.
All right.
Yeah. I have 2, obviously.
Yeah. Clearly. Would you ever stack them? That would be weird.
No, it'd be weird.
Yeah.
You got to like do fruit, and then you got to do like chocolate separate. I would do like the chocolate from the mint chocolate chip with the black cherry, like the Bernie cherry. That'd be bomb. But yeah, no mint and cherry. That'd be weird.
There's this little ice cream shop in just outside of Victoria and Oak Bay. Can't remember the name of it, but I was there for a month house sitting for my sister, and I would go, walk to this place and get black cherry cola ice cream.
What?
And it was my crack cocaine. It was like I couldn't.
It'll blow my mind.
Every day I'd just walk up and get my scoop.
Because it'd be so mind blowing and call it the Chuck Norris.
It would be mind blown.
Right?
Okay, here's the situation. You are, I'm going to say you're walking down the bike path.
Yep.
Probably, maybe you're just outside of Kensington.
Okay.
You're heading along the river. Perhaps you're going to Princess Island Park. I don't know if that's a thing, but let's call it a early spring day.
Yep. So we're on the north side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're thinking to yourself, I just wish the world knew this one thing. What's the one thing that you wish the world knew?
The things that you think are the most important things sometimes are actually just bullshit.
Solid.
Yeah.
How do you figure it out?
Well, blowing up your life's a good way. Burning everything to the ground is a really good way of doing it. I think just having the bravery to go and experience life for real and take risk and have it be really messed up and really like think to yourself, what do I actually want? How do I actually want to feel?
Yeah.
Who actually makes me feel calm and happy? Not what am I supposed to be doing? How do I structure my life so that everything works out and I'm the safest?
Right.
Like we as humans inherently want to feel safe. That's what we all want. I want that. I'm still searching for that. What I realized this year though, is it was controlling my subconscious and me so hard that I was making decisions from a place of fear and not from a place of like wanting peace. I know. It takes a lot of panic attacks, a lot of mental health issues. And then you're like, oh, I can choose not to feel this way. How do I go in reverse? And then you think about little kids, like they make decisions on how they want to feel.
Right.
Why can't we do that? Like there's discipline, of course, and responsibilities, but sometimes we're just doing stuff because we think we should.
Right.
Or because everyone else is, or because we think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But we actually don't want to.
Yeah.
It's very Runaway Bride in a way. If you've ever seen that movie, she was with really amazing, nice guys. Her life was pretty good. Like there was nothing really wrong, but she had this like such unhappiness about her. It's because she never advocated for herself. She never did anything that actually brought her personal joy.
Right.
And she never even thought about it. Like, I don't want basic. I don't want standard. I don't want a 5 out of 10. I want like a 12 out of 10. I want fireworks. Like I want bonfires. Like I want to jump out of airplanes. I want to do all that. Like I want a big life. I want to feel everything. Sometimes that takes risks.
Yeah.
And like, whew, like that really sucked and that really hurt.
Yeah.
But I want the high highs.
Nice.
I don't just want to coast through life and miss the reason why we're here, to experience all these like beautiful ways of consciousness and connection and adventure.
Have you ever scuba dived?
No, because I'm claustrophobic, but I have snorkeled.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. But the scuba diving I could only do. I have this really weird fear. It must be a past life fear of drowning in the ocean.
Yeah.
And being in a confined space and never being able to escape.
Yeah.
So I could probably scuba dive. If I could make it to the top, I could see like somewhere in the Caribbean, and I was like very much in control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Then I could do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. What's the craziest thing you've ever done?
Other than like
other than everything else you just talked
all
about.
the fighting and jumping into like as a lightweight fighting heavyweights and winning. Craziest thing I ever did? Probably blowing up probably just my entire safety, security, my life, my identity, everything I'd worked so hard for, just saying I'm not happy and quitting.
Wow. Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, it was big. It's crazy. Like I've done lots of crazy things, but they don't seem as like impactful.
Interesting. Burgers or pizza? I'm only giving you two choices, but I'm curious.
I don't know. Probably pizza, I guess. I'm a gluten-free girl, so it's like gluten-free pizza kind of sucks. But if we're in Italy, that pizza 10 times out of 10 because I could eat that.
Awesome.
Yeah, there isn't the glyphosate in Europe, so I don't get sick on the gluten.
No kidding.
So an Italian pizza, 10 out of 10. I would choose that.
Love it. I was going to ask for your favorite pizza place here in Calgary, but I mean, clearly.
There's, I think it's called Avatara. Don't remember. It's like on the river, like on Shaganappi. It's really good.
Okay.
But they make a really good gluten-free.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it. I'll do a little research and put it in the show
perfect.
notes.
Perfect. They make a good gluten-free pizza.
Awesome. You've mentioned some movies, and are you like a Netflix? Did you finish Netflix during the pandemic, like most of us, or?
Yeah, like my studio was closed and I was like trying to figure out my life then. So a little bit of distraction was nice.
Yeah. Do you have any favorites?
Favorite movie of all time or favorite Netflix?
Oh,
I bet you could guess what my favorite movie of all time is.
Karate Kid?
Yeah. Legitimately, I know every lyric to every song. I can quote you just about everything. I know the sweaters they wore.
Oh my God.
Like it's insane. And I quote it probably annoyingly to everybody that I know and to my students. I would make them watch the movie in summer camp and then we would dissect it and we'd do all the life lessons.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. All
So
of that.
good.
Love the original Mortal Kombat.
What did you think about Cobra Kai, the show?
I
Did you watch
actually really like it because they're showing all of the social dynamics and all of the like circumstances of everybody.
Yeah.
It shows like how trauma affects you. It shows how your circumstance affects you. So you don't actually know if there's a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah, I love that.
Which I sort of appreciate.
Yeah.
And you're learning that maybe the good guy might not be like, I don't want to reveal too much if people haven't seen the whole thing, but
you definitely got to watch it.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
But you start to become more compassionate. You start to think outside the box. You start to wonder like, was I right? Can I change my mind?
Right.
And I love shows that make me change my mind or make me have a different opinion or at least show me different like things that are at play.
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of convictions, but I like when someone broadens my mind and shows me that I can think differently or I didn't understand a certain side or perspective. And so I dig what they're doing right now. I think it's super smart, especially for kids that are watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. I didn't know what to expect. And the first season, I'm just like, I am so in. I love the great character arcs, some great backstory.
The only thing is that like they do have some really good sport karate martial artists on there that are acting, but my son would make fun of me because I get wildly angry that I'm like, that's not a real move. That doesn't work. That doesn't actually do that. Crescent kicks are junk. Like, right. You know what I mean? It's like watching, like, was it Bloodsport?
Crescent kicks are junk.
Crescent kicks are junk. Like seriously, I would never, ever. Anyway, so it's like when I was really sick with a surgery this year, I had a friend come over and he was like, have you ever seen like Bloodsport?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. I'm like, I think it'd be really fun to watch it. So I had oral surgery. So every time I spoke or got mad, my mouth would bleed.
Oh no.
By the end of the movie, I was bleeding everywhere. I was so because I was so wildly angry that I had to speak out about how unrealistic the whole tournament was and all of his moves. And I'm like, I could have been a better actor in there. Like they should have just thrown me in. Like I'll wear a wig and a pair of pleated pants. Like throw me in, coach.
Love it.
Yeah.
What's your finishing move?
I have a favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sidekick to the face was my favorite. So I'm a right-handed southpaw. Of course, I'm unorthodox. And I had a very hingy, strange sidekick because my hips aren't very flexible. So I had to have very interesting hip flexors, a very interesting chamber.
Yeah.
So if a girl was like a dirtier fighter, or if she didn't respect me in the ring, I would kick her straight in the mouth. Yeah. I didn't like to throw that one so often, but it was my favorite. It made the most impact and seemed to work. So, yeah.
I love it.
A lead leg side kick to the face. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was very unconventional to do that in like a Muay Thai competition or a K1.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's pretty not normal. Even like axe kicks. Like I loved axe kicks. And that wasn't something that you regularly threw in like kickboxing and stuff. So,
yeah. Wild.
It's very sport karate.
Oh,
Taekwondo. Yeah.
That's awesome. Have you ever kicked somebody off their feet?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
First tournament I ever was in, and I felt like crap about it. So, first tournament ever, and this is like so cheesy 80s karate.
Yeah.
So, like
Crane
my
kick?
first kind of. It was like a front thrust kick, but instead of to the face, it was like to the chest.
Yeah.
I had like a boy opponent. It was like Goju Roost. There was no equipment. We had like, I think a little thing on our knuckles and that was it because it was the 80s. It was in a YMCA gym, no matting, like no ring boundaries. Like, it's just like, okay, you're going to do your first tournament. A bunch of other studios are going to come. You're going to do kumite and you're going to do kata.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, cool. And the first move I did was like a big front thrust kick to this poor little boy's chest. He went flying and then like smoked his elbows and his head onto the hardwood floor.
Oh my God.
So part of me was like, sweet. And the other part of me was like, oh no, like I just hurt this boy. And I don't think he expected to get kicked in the center of the chest like that. And then it continued. It wasn't always cool. Like I lost a ton of fights and,
well, you have to, but yeah,
failed a lot and, met a lot of really good female fighters that like just schooled me. But then I wanted to learn from them too. So I ended up training with them as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was, we were doing a thing with a guy named Ari Tobe here in town. He did Hard Knocks Fighting, MMA. And I was doing marketing for them, but we brought a team from our club to watch. And it was Ronda Rousey's first fight.
I was at a lot of the Hard Knocks' first fights.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at every one of them.
Awesome.
Yeah, but like watching her just take apart her opponent, like it was I think it lasted a minute.
She really brought female martial arts to the forefront.
Yeah, and I can't say much about her now. Like there's certainly there's some stuff going on there, but man, what a fighter. And like just her throws were just like stunning.
Well, her mom was an Olympic judo like competitor.
Yeah.
I would encourage people to read her book.
Yeah.
To be honest, it brings light to a lot of things.
Oh, good.
The first half of the book, I cried my way through because there's a lot of things that I had to do in my career in which I resonate a lot.
Yeah.
It's very unsafe space for women.
Yeah.
Especially when you're traveling, you're alone. You don't look like a dude.
Right.
You sometimes are sleeping on couches. You don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Making weight was a thing. I had a very, very serious eating disorder for a very long time.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm 5'10". I competed at 120 to 125 pounds for a decade.
Holy.
Oh yeah. And like, it was not okay.
Yeah.
And nobody knew. Everyone I was performing.
Yeah.
I was super tiny. Like you're rewarded for that.
Yeah.
You're rewarded for being a woman and having a full 6-pack and being so tiny and a 24-inch waist and
Jesus.
like winning all these fights. And I was told, well, oh, you're only winning because you're small. So I weighted at a lightweight, won that, weighed in as a lightweight, fought middleweights, won that, went in as a lightweight, fought heavyweights, won that. So I made sure I won in every weight class as well.
Holy.
But like when someone that's got a lot more weight on you hits you, it feels like you've been hit by a train.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of concussions, a lot of broken bones, made a lot of sacrifices. And for some reason, I intrinsically knew I needed to. Like it was a life lesson and a experience I needed to have to get to the other side in some way. I would never, as a coach, like ever encourage someone to cut weight. I want people to be as fit as they should be with energy balance, the best thing for their body, but not what I did. But I didn't have mentorship. I didn't have proper coaching. I didn't have any of that. And eating disorders were like a jam. So help me with my coping mechanisms. I had it since I was young. So that was like a pretty easy thing for me to manage. And I felt like I was more in control. It's just really interesting how society sees it and how you get so rewarded for like getting smaller and smaller and smaller and sicker and sicker.
Weird.
So weird. Huh. It still affects me, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
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 Of course it would.
Yeah. So with Rhonda, I have to admit, like she definitely brought female martial arts to the forefront. Mm-hmm. She went through a lot. I don't think people really understand what that takes and how it really takes its toll on you in so many different ways, relationships, friendships, how people take advantage of you. You know, the amount of hate that you get being thrown your way, being judged at everything that you do. I mean, she was an extremely talented ground fighter. I don't believe that she had the right stand-up coaches. I don't think they brought out the best in her. I think they left her very vulnerable, which I was very upset about. But also you're a fighter. Like you're going to win, you're going to lose. And the personality that she portrayed as well, like unfortunately or fortunately, depending on what side of the coin or even both, like got a lot of eyes on the sport.
Yeah.
And it helped a lot of people make their way after her. Like she was definitely a trailblazer.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of respect for her in a lot of different ways. Yeah. Even if we're not the same and we don't have the same viewpoint, like she did a lot for our sport.
Yeah. That's awesome. Shout out to Rhonda.
Yeah.
And boy, can she throw people around.
Yeah. Her arm bars are so delicious. So yummy. Yeah.
I got chills.
Yummy arm bars.
Yummy arm bars.
Yummy arm bars.
Yep. I guess I need to know your favorite place to travel.
I have a lot of favorites. I have a list of places I want to go.
Oh, hit me with one of those.
Okay. So I'm really into ancient civilizations and ancient cultures. I named my son after a Roman emperor. So like all my tattoos are hugely spiritual. There's a lot of sacred geometry.
Love it.
So there's like energy vortexes all over the world, and very spiritual places that I want to go. I mean, there's quite a bit of that. Like I've been to Sedona and you can feel the energy of the vortexes, all the spirituality in there for all the different reasons.
Yeah.
Greece was a huge one as far as the history, the culture, all of that, Rome, things like that. I mean, I feel the most at home in Germany and Austria.
Really?
Which is insane to me. Like as the plane is starting to land, I like all the stress leaves my body and I have like this very strange opposite homesickness feeling.
Interesting.
It's really interesting. It's happened that way since the first time I've ever been there. And I know my way around. So it's interesting because I'll be in Amsterdam and I'll know exactly where I'm going. I'll be in Munich. I'll know exactly where I'm going. Calgary, I can't go anywhere without Google Maps.
Really?
And I've lived here for most of my life.
Wild.
But yet there's certain places in certain cities where like I know exactly. So yeah, I want to go to Cappadocia. I've had visions of Cappadocia since I was a kid. I want to go to Petra in Jordan with the library. I want to go to Alexandria. There's a lot of like I want to go to Angkor Wat. There's a lot of really like spiritual, important, depthful, ancient historical places that I want to go. Like I love studying the Mayans and like their math and their astronomy and their astrology. I'm really into that. I understand it. I mean, all the temples around the world, the most ancient places, like they all have similarities.
Yeah.
Like there is a big connection.
Yeah.
So actually, Ancient Apocalypse is my favorite thing on Netflix right now.
Oh.
If you have not watched it.
I have not.
It's definitely a great documentary and it's an interesting perspective on the world, culture, storytelling, ancient texts, how, ancient civilizations are going through the same thing 20,000 years ago, but they can't communicate to one another. So why is it the same?
Right.
Kind of awesome.
Interesting.
Very.
All right. That's on my list.
Okay.
Oh,
Perfect.
I feel that I could talk with you for weeks.
Yay.
At a time.
Glad I'm not boring.
No, anything but. There's these people in the world, we call them rebels in waiting.
Yeah.
And who knows what they are. Maybe they're somebody who's about to take martial arts. Maybe it's a young woman who needs to start her own business. But they're maybe not sure how to do it, or they're nervous about it. They haven't been punched in the face yet. So what advice would you give to those rebels in waiting?
I have a couple. First thing is, when I am super scared to do something, it's just baby steps. Like, how do you eat an elephant? This is like the grossest reference. It's one bite at a time, right? Like it's such a gross reference, but it's true. Like you don't eat the whole elephant. Like you take small little pieces, small little baby steps, small little bites. So say, for example, if you want to start a business, but you don't know what it is, write down your unicorns and rainbows. What would you do? What would you wish if there was no restrictions? Like, if money wasn't an issue, if a relationship wasn't an issue, if your situation or education or boundaries were not an issue, how would you, what would your unicorn and rainbows be? And then start to take pieces of that and make some baby steps around that.
Yeah.
And then you slowly build more confidence and build more foundation and get more puzzle pieces. And then you can kind of see what it's sort of going to look like. Yeah. And then you decide if you want to continue to take those small steps or if you want to leap and do a bigger one. But yeah, I would just literally start a page and just be unicorns and rainbows. And every time that something makes you happy or you get an idea or I would love to go there, or I would love to do that, or oh my God, I love working with children, or oh my God, I'd love to be able to do a 360 roundhouse kick. Write it down. And then as you're becoming more aware of those things, you start to pay more attention to the opportunities that start to present themselves around your wants.
Love it.
It's super cool. It's like when you want to go buy a new car and then you kind of choose what color that car is going to be. And then that's all you see is that car.
Right.
It's no different to wanting something. And it could be wanting anything, like a new passion, a new business, a new relationship, a new adventure.
Yeah.
You really just have to identify what it would be without boundaries or restrictions.
Yeah.
And then you start to see it. You want to be a ninja and do 360s, you write that down. Then all of a sudden you might see that there's a bunch of girls that want to go do a kickboxing class, or at work, they're like, oh, well, we're going to do this self-defense team building. You should be part of it. And then the next thing rolls and the next thing rolls and the next thing rolls.
Love it.
And then you just build from there.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Where can people connect with you?
I have 2 different websites. I have healingelementscoaching.com, which is my intuitive side, my channeling side, my facilitation side, the whole spiritual work that I do.
Yeah.
And then I have beyondtheblackbelts.com. And that one is all my martial arts stuff, private lessons, corporate team building, health and wellness, public speaking, all of that nature.
Amazing.
So both my personalities, I get to do both. And that's the thing is, sometimes people limit themselves and don't think that they can do 2 things or more creative things.
Yeah.
You absolutely can. You just have to decide.
Love it.
Yeah.
Maeghen, this has been awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's me again. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you're an artist, entrepreneur, or business owner who believes your brand could be more than it is, head over to brandjitsu.com and join the list to get your copy of my book, Brand Jitsu, Move Your Brand from Meh to Memorable. I've been your host, Michael Dargie, and this has been the RebelRebel podcast. It's a podcast for creative rebels and entrepreneurs all over the world. And hey, if you're a rebel or you know a rebel, why don't you head on over to the RebelRebelPodcast.com and fill out our guest request form. Share or subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And thanks so much for listening. Until next time.